Here's a Simpson single shot 22 Hornet. Has to be one of my favorite rifles, just so easy to shoot so well. Hardly weighs anything, probably 4 pounds. We did a segment on Patreon, which I invite you to have a look at. But I thought I would go over some things that I didn't go over on Patreon. A lot of people ask me technical questions, and if you're wondering if I'm ever going to stop talking and go to shooting, yeah, there's going to be shooting. We went in the mountains with this rifle in a few minutes, but before I get to that, especially for the younger viewers who are getting into this gun stuff and gun designing and so forth, the questions were how do the side mounts work? So you can see there's a rail here. And again, this rifle is about 100 years old, and this rifle is like as good, or a lot of people would say better than what we're making today. So I'm not sure about this progress theory. Anyway, it's a Zeiss 2.5 power scope, brilliantly clear even now, although the outside is a little bit beaten up, but it's fine. So I'll show you. So you just open these levers, which move. Very simple, easy to understand. And here's the rail. And then you don't have to go back here. You can go in the middle. Well, it depends on the layout of the scope mount. So you can see I captured the rail below, and then all you have to do is move these levers forward. And now the scope is locked in place and isn't going anywhere. And people will automatically say, well, does it return to zero? And yeah, I mean, they were thinking the same thing back then. Okay, now people were asking, how does the extraction work on these? So you see this part that tipped down? This is super smart. Actually reminds me of a Winchester 22, like a Model 69. I'm not sure if John Browning came up with this or who came up with it, or maybe many people at the same time, but you can see this piece slides back and forth. And when you set a cartridge into the chamber, into the action, so I'll move this, you set it right here. You'll see us shooting like I said, in a couple of minutes. So I put the 22 Hornet right there. And then when you close the bolt, this goes forward. So essentially, this is the bottom half of the front of the chamber. So just forward like that. Maybe what we'll do is flip over these levers and take the scope off. You can see how easy that is. And then when we go to close the action, now the bolt is hitting the sear. So I want to get past the sear. So I'm going to pull this and push the bolt forward. We have to capture that little piece in this groove, or else this mechanism won't work. So that's basically it, except for one detail, which is important. You see how I'm pushing up on this extractor? Well, what's pushing up on it when I'm not here? This spring. This is a takedown rifle. All you have to do is take out this screw, captive screw, so you won't lose it in the snow or wherever. And that spring inside, which it's probably gloomy to see, but it's there, that's pushing up on this extractor. This is how simple this mechanism is, whoever came up with it. So that when we open well, let's go through the sequence. So we're going to close the action. Now it's not cocked because I didn't capture the striker with the sear when I closed it, but we can pull back and then you'll see it working. Now we fire, and now there would be brass in the chamber. It's a little bit cumbersome, but you're mechanically inclined, or a lot of you or most of you. Now there would be an empty brass in the chamber, so now we just lift up this bolt and we pull back, and as we pull back, that spring in the stock I showed you would be capturing the bolt, and it comes back, and we can now take out the brass. And you'll see the brass sits in here on the shooting video. It's elegantly simple. I love it. And compared to a lot of the things I come across, you know, people, when you have a channel like this, you see a lot of things. And I'm just suggesting a lot of the modern devices, they're not as good as this. This is good. But in case that's not clear, you could watch it over and over, I guess. Oh, and it's cock on closing. Actually, we could take that part out. Why don't we do that? So it falls out the bottom, but you won't get it out the bottom. You have to get it out the top. And we'll just feed it through here. And there you can see that that would hold the cartridge, the bottom half, and the rest you can use your mechanical imagination. And here's the mechanism itself. So it's cock on closing. So this will still work without that. And if you didn't have that extractor, now the cartridge would be sitting in the chamber and you would have to take a cleaning rod to bump it out. But that's how these things work. And it seems that more and more of you are studying this because maybe we'll enter some like new age where we're not subjected to a lot of inferior quality products. I'm not saying this is like some kind of genius device, but it's good. And there we go. That's what it looks like from that side. And of course, this is all extremely lightweight and the barrel is perfect and everything works and it's super accurate. All the, all the things one would say. But what I did is I took out my 9mm Voere, V-O-E-R-E. A lot of people on this side of the pond say Vore or Vor. I've heard every kind of pronunciation because it uses the same mechanism. So this is kind of maybe helpful. You close the bolt, open the bolt, and you'll see right there. Yeah, you can see it. That's the carrier extractor. And the operation, this is a 9mm, of course, you'll see here, and that would fire. This, by the way, is lovely rifle / shotgun in 9mm with good sights. And I only have these because Europe seems to be, as I've said before, declawing its citizens for whatever reason. I receive a lot of correspondence from Finland and from Sweden and Norway, and you're allowed to own certain numbers of guns, but not other guns, and I don't know, it's too complicated for me. How that equates to freedom, I don't know, but maybe you know. Anyway, that I wanted to show you, and we'll shift now into the shooting part, but I hope this is helpful in understanding how these mechanisms work. And if you're designing something, I've said this before, the simpler, the better, and the fewer parts, the better, and then make everything well. And the people will be lined up to buy your product, and it doesn't have to be made out of polymer or, these junk materials can be good materials that last, as opposed to this concept of disposable stuff. Even this piece, beautifully made. And of course, everything has a serial number so you can match up everything. Anyway, that's enough for me. Let's shift to the shooting now. And thanks for watching this part. You can look for more on Patreon, where I go into this kind of thing. And please subscribe. And I hope you like the shooting. We've looked at so many rifles recently, and I must say it's some kind of heyday over here in North America. There's stuff coming out of Europe. I don't know what's happening, or maybe I do, but it doesn't matter. We're the beneficiaries. They're sending over these fantastic rifles. This one, one of the reasons I make these videos is that people may not realize the value in things. They look at the price, and maybe right now there's a surplus of firearms from Europe. Anyway, I spotted it, and it's beautifully made. You can see the stock design is excellent. I'm in an interesting position because I see the most recent offerings and what the factories are turning out, and they're doing their best. One shouldn't be critical, but it's nothing compared to these. This may not look like much to you. It doesn't have a polymer stock, but there's a lot of workmanship, excellence, and the barrels are almost invariably fantastic, either machine cut or hand cut rifling. This one has that side-mounted scope mount, you can see. And I think this is just a Zeiss Zeal-Klein 2.5 power, a little bit worn, but the optics are invariably very, very clear. So let's get into it. I'll put on my glasses, and as it turns out, so here we open the action, and you can see this is a little bit along the lines of a lot of actions for this time. And what does that mean? What would this time have been? So we're talking about maybe, I don't know, I was going to say 1920. It's easy to figure it out because you have to find when was the 22 Hornet and a corresponding European caliber introduced or common in the market. So that somebody, Simpson, came up with this beautiful sporter. I never mind, and a lot of collectors actually look for authentic modifications. So this one has some leather and a steel butt plate. I don't mind that. Decent checkering, nothing on the forend. That was very common. And the action, well, there's not much to tell. It's just a very solid action. Have a look at the system. If we can film in here, this will remind you of a Model 69 Winchester. So the round sits on that ledge and then goes forward. And in fact, what I'll do is I'll put a round in. So we just drop the round onto that kind of carrier. You can see how it's designed. And then we can close the bolt. You have to give it a bit of a bump. And then when we want to remove the cartridge, we have to pull back here, which I won't do because it takes a bunch of force and then it'll fly out. So let's push it forward, and you can see it's cock on close. You can see it jumps back. That tells you that. And we'll take a shot at that plate. And after this, whatever it is, 100 years or something, still works great. So now we pull out. There's the round. You could see I was vigorous with pulling it out because I didn't know how easy or hard it would be. It didn't jump out. Not that that really matters, but anyway, now we have another round sitting inside the action. And now we can close. Yeah, I mean, it's effortless and in a way meaningless, but the groups that we were shooting on the paper were about an inch, which is nothing surprising, but quite a nice handling for sure, very nice handling rifle. And for most of the applications, you can see there's no need for a magazine. And maybe that looks a little bit clunky by modern standards, I don't know, but I like it. Suhl, made in Suhl, Germany. So this is our last shot, 22 Hornet, Simpson Suhl single shot with the Zeiss scope, and here we go. Yeah, it's effortless to hit with this after all these years, and the bore is like new, so I don't know. I guess somebody must have carried it. On the other hand, the 22 Hornet, there's not much erosion in the bore. Can go on for centuries, probably. Anyway, beautiful rig. And yeah, if you come across something like this, nobody else will recognize that this is something. It's not nothing. It's worth owning. And 22 Hornet, it's great. There aren't that many 22 Hornet options, but whatever they are, I'd rather have this one anyway. It's just beautifully made, handmade gun, and we can take the brass case out. I guess maybe sometimes people say it's not working, but sometimes it's set up that way. We could actually probably get the ejector to throw it out, but maybe people at that time didn't want that. You can see how easily that action closes. All right, well, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Keeps us going, and look forward to making the next video for you. Take care.